Hi there and welcome to the Deeper Than Eczema YouTube channel. My name is Trudy, in case you've not seen me before, and today we're going to be talking about a new topic on allergens. So, what allergens, which is not food, affects your eczema? Maybe it's dust, maybe it could be mold, maybe it could be type of environment that you're in terms of heating, air conditioning, a whole range of things. Anyway, if the answer is yes for any of these, then this video is just for you, because I'm going to be talking about allergens, which is not food, other allergens in the environment, and how those can trigger our skin and how we can overcome them. So the first one I'm going to talk about is pollen. So pollen comes from the trees, it comes from grass, it comes from flowers and weeds, which is all outside. And that can actually aggravate eczema simply because it links to hay fever. So if you have atopic eczema, a bit like me, hay fever is affected, the eczema is affected as well. And having atopic eczema may also mean that you have asthma as well, just like myself. So all of these pollens and things can actually aggravate all three of these areas. And the best way to overcome is, well, A, probably staying away from high pollen environments, and B, also taking some sort of antihistamine, which can be bought over the counter, or you can get that from prescription from your GP. So that's the way of overcoming that one. The second one is dust mites. So dust mites is found in dust. So if you're in an environment, maybe it's the home and you're probably not dusted for the last 2 to 3 weeks, or you're in a type of environment where there's probably a whole heap of boxes and basically places where you've not been to for quite a while, where a lot of dust can basically accumulate all together. Or maybe at home you've got laminated flooring. I find that homes with laminated flooring tend to gather a lot of dust quite quickly compared to carpet. So if you're in an environment like that, odds are that, as well as affecting the breathing, because obviously that also triggers asthma, it can also irritate eczema, because obviously the dust mites goes into our skin and that can potentially cause irritation. So the best way of getting over that is regular dusting of the home, regular cleaning, and staying away from highly dusty environments. That's one thing. The next one I'm going to be talking about is pets. So it could be cats, dogs, I don't know, rabbits, guinea pigs, etc. So when it comes to pets and animals, people can be allergic based on the hair from the animal or from the actual dander. So I remember doing a test years ago and I was told I was allergic to cats and dogs. And I don't know how that came about, because when I was growing up as a child, we had a cat. In fact, we had 2 cats, actually. And I don't remember my skin flowing up due to having either of those cats. But anyway. And I remember once, actually, I was asked, is it the fur or is it the actual dander, which is the saliva from the animal? And I actually didn't know how to answer that question. And when I had that test result, I actually couldn't tell you whether it was cat fur or dander, because it literally just said you're allergic to cats and dogs. So animals may affect the skin and trigger the skin, depending. It could be worth investigating on if it is the fur or the dander, if you was to go for a blood test or go for hair sample tests. That's something to overcome, because you can have a look into that and find that out. If you don't have pets and obviously you're not really bothered, then obviously that's not a high thing to be worried about or concerned. So swifting on, I mentioned dust mites. So the next one is mould and damp. And this is a big one for me. As I mentioned, I'm asthmatic, so too much mould and too much damp just makes me wheeze. You don't agree with me. Also, it can also irritate the skin. So I did do a video on my eczema journey, which you should be able to find on this channel. And I also spoken about my 3 challenging experiences where I had a major eczema flare-up when my skin flaked from head to toe. And I think I mentioned on that video that I had eczema on my scalp for a short period of time where I lost all of my hair. And part of that was because I was living in accommodation where there was high levels of mold and damp, and I didn't realise that that mold and damp was at the corner where I was sleeping. So the moisture from that was actually getting onto my head, which affected my scalp, and that's why I ended up losing my hair. So basically, exposure to mold and damp within a room or within a particular environment does affect our skin, and it can also actually be dangerous in the long run, getting into the lungs as well. So best way to overcome this is no mold, no damp. Avoid those types of environments. If you are in a tricky situation where you do have that in your home, please look into trying to get that resolved, whether it's treating it or seeking some sort of advice and help in order to avoid that situation, because it does affect the health a lot. So the next one, this is actually not to do with allergens in the environment, but I want to cover this topic. Also, soaps. And this is not soap we use to wash. This is soaps in terms of what we use to wash our clothes. That can also irritate our skin. So my recommendation is to make sure that the comfort that we use is for sensitive skin and skin friendly from personal experience, and to use a non-bio washing powder. Best recommendation there. There is other recommendations such as regularly cleaning out your washing machine, making sure that dirt etc doesn't build up over time. So that's also another thing to think about and consider. And detergents is another thing, so cleaning products, the antibacterial spray, cleaning spray products may also affect our skin. Another one I'm going to cover is the temperature. So being too hot can cause us to sweat and irritate the skin, but also cold. So winter time is coming as I'm filming this, and I find that my eczema is worse in the winter. And that's because of the dry, cold air when we go outside, but also indoors, because indoors central heating is on, and that can also potentially dry out the skin as well. Another thing I'm going to cover is chlorine, and that's when we go swimming. So chlorine can also affect the skin and also affect the eczema, and that's why unfortunately it's extremely rare that you actually find me in a swimming pool. On odd occasion that I do, which is probably, I think the last time I went in one was the last time I went on a spa day actually. The trick I use is, because the eczema is on my lower legs, I put on a thick layer of Vaseline or some kind of quick ointment, so it acts as a barrier. So when we're in the swimming pool, the chlorine doesn't go into the actual eczema skin, if that makes sense. It doesn't last for long, but I do find personally that's an effective barrier. I probably would be careful if you was to put it on your feet, and make sure it's not on the soles on the feet, because it could potentially lead to slipping while in the swimming pool. But that's something which I've personally done to overcome that. And yes, if I do end up in a swimming pool or in a jacuzzi, I won't stay in there for longer than an hour, because this is too much. Maybe even half an hour to 45 minutes, just a quick little swim around and a relax in the jacuzzi. Then it's like, okay, yeah, skin's dry, time to get out now. So that tends to be me, and that's how I overcome that one. Cosmetics. So that could be the makeup that we use, skin product which we put on our face, also on the skin, can also play a role as well. So with that, it's just a matter of trial and error. I think there are, I mean, I don't wear makeup often. Well, actually, I don't really wear makeup at all, to be fair. There's some makeup brands out there which are expert friendly. So it's just a case of finding out what works for you and looking out for those which cater for sensitive skin. And then the final thing I'm going to be talking about is latex. So latex is found in gloves, so cleaning gloves that we wear, gloves in a hospital environment. You can find latex in there. And there's many other products which has latex in. So it's just a case of looking at the material and making sure that it doesn't have that in there. But that only applies if you have an allergy to latex. If you don't have a latex allergy, then it's absolutely fine. If you do, this is be mindful of that. I personally do have a latex allergy, so I have to be careful that basically I'm not in contact with it. So that's me. We've come to the end of me talking about allergens and the environment. Oh, one last thing actually I forgot to mention. Air conditioning. Air conditioning really does dry out the skin. And I'm going to do a separate video about that actually, because in the workplace environment that did actually affect me. So I'm going to cover that in another video. Anyway, rounding up now. So thank you very much for watching my video today. I hope that you've learned something. Please check out my blog and the social media links below. I look forward to seeing you again in another video. Take care.